Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going way better than fantastic. And your journey to self-betterment is going way better than fantastic as well. Today I want to talk about something very important, and it's very important because sadly people throw around the term narcissism or narcissist without understanding the seriousness of what happens when someone is actually raised by a narcissist parent or parents. You see, it's my belief, a great deal of those that fall behind in society, meaning kids that are really trying hard and doing the best they can, right along with kids that are troubled and causing problems in society. I believe that a good percentage of such kids are growing up in or grew up in a toxic home of origin. And they didn't stand a chance since day one. You see, when society talks about all kinds of mistreatments, and people donate such money to such organizations, it's either a kid with a black eye clutching a teddy bear, or a scared woman with a black eye. Although yes, this scenario does happen. The scenario that I believe is more common is both kids, boys and girls just the same, are growing up under literal mental torture by narcissist parents or a narcissist parent. And they are put in such a position that if they speak up, they will be seen as a terrible child and an ungrateful child. The other scenario I believe that isn't depicted is the man with the claw marks and digs on his arms, burn marks, and bruises, and yes, black eyes, along with both men and women being put under serious mental strain and torture. But that's another topic for another video. Right now we are talking about what evil parents do to their children, because not enough attention is given to this big problem. And I think the reason why is broken people that start off as broken children feed societal narcissism in one way or another. No matter they grow up to be a lifelong scapegoat. No matter they have fallen so far behind that they fill most of the entry-level or below entry-level jobs in society, when in reality they are way smarter and should by all accounts have their own business, or doing other things that could bring not only a ton of value to themselves but to society as well. And then you have the other side of things, those that are out there committing terrible criminal acts. You see, it's hard for those that are at the top of the pyramid of power to stay in power in society, when you have lots of good-natured people growing up and being raised correctly, and being raised to be the best person they can be. Their passions and gifts are nurtured and given the help that they need. Those that are at the top of the pyramid of power know that if several of these people are able to grow up extremely well, even if they are financially poor, if they can get all of their ducks in a row, it's a matter of time before these young people grow up to be able to compete with the big dogs, so to speak. But there will be a difference. They will be doing business in a fair manner, and in a decent manner. And when good grows, it keeps on growing. But when evil grows, it keeps on growing as well. And those that are truly evil, they know this fact. So they can't let the light of good come through at all. However, they know, despite their best efforts, every now and again, one of these terribly raised children will beat the odds, and will make it through to what appears to be a positive life. But even then, the narcissists that are at the top of this power pyramid will do what they can to still control how far this now young adult can go in their life. We see it all the time in the music industry and athletics and in the movies. Young poor kid makes it. They try to do the right things. But someone somewhere puts all kinds of evil temptations in front of them. Now, at the end of the day, it's the person's choice to accept such temptations. But, just like we've talked about how a friend will come to you, getting you to think leaving your loving husband or wife is the best thing for you. These evil people will do the same in the entertainment industry when it comes to get such a young artist to taking certain substances. They might make them feel that they can become more creative if they take such things, knowing once they have them hooked, they can control them. The late DMX has talked about before, where in the early days of his career, a so-called friend gave him what he thought was weed. But it turned out to be laced with something much stronger. That helped turn DMX into sadly someone with what appeared to be a strong addiction. Now this was a so-called friend that did this to DMX, knowingly giving him something that would likely make him an addict after first smoke. And that's just as easy as it can happen. And this is what happens when one breaks through. And in many cases, the person giving someone such substances do so out of sheer jealousy. As usually these artists have what we call that it factor. People just see them and they love being around them. They love the way they sing, rap, dance, or act in their favorite movie. And those around them, though they too might be making good money, they know they may never ever have that it factor. And if they can't have that it factor, they don't want their so-called friend to have it either. You see, there were some out there that said they have issue with those in the narcissistic abuse community, thinking that they are special. That's why the narcissist picked you. Or that's why their parents or parent abused them. That simply they would do this to anyone. And to this I do not agree. Most narcissistic abuse victims I've met, not all, but most, have something about them that is extremely special. So much so, you might confuse them with a narcissist. Because they might be extremely handsome or pretty. They might be extremely well spoken. They might have a talent for drawing or playing the piano. Or extremely athletic. Now this isn't to say this is what all victims will look like. But I've watched many videos of people here online that talk about their homes of origin or the terrible relationships they were in. And they all have some sort of really unique quality about themselves. And this is what I think makes such people what we call grade A supply. Yes. There are just run-of-the-mill people out there that narcissists abuse. But grade A supply, those are the people that usually have something about them that the narcissist can't stand, because the narcissist doesn't have it themselves. Now again, using DMX as an example. Though I don't know much about the relationship regarding DMX and the person that did this to DMX. But what I do know how jealous people act. And also what I do know is, DMX is loved by many. And even if this happened early on in his career, I'm pretty sure when DMX walked into a room, all eyes were on him. And that can make certain people extremely jealous. So instead of being someone that said, "Hey DMX, that prayer you did, that was one of the best prayers and touching prayers I've ever heard. Do you know, you are not only a talented rapper, but possibly, you can turn more people to Jesus. And help people get out of some real dark bad places in their life. Just by your prayers." Nope. They hand him something that will make him have to fight an addiction his entire life. And that's what narcissist parents do to their children. They want you to fall behind so badly that you are fighting that problem your entire life. Instead of making awesome life moves that will not only provide you with a great life, but where you might be able to touch the lives of others. And if you are fighting your life problems, you are now feeding the societal narcissistic system. You see, those at the top of the power pyramid want you to continue to feed them more wealth and power. And they don't want you to become wealthy and powerful yourself. And they do such a thing by keeping you working at their lower level jobs, where you are unable to grow and better yourself. They keep you living in their apartments with increasing rent you can barely keep up with, and unable to buy a house and some land where you can possibly raise your own family. They basically want to keep you in constant struggle. And that's narcissism right there. That's the thing that the average person that throws around the term narcissist doesn't get. It's that the narcissist's job is to keep you in constant struggle. Not only so you will never better yourself, so you will be around and constant supply for them, but so you will be constant supply for the entire worldwide narcissistic system. Now there are some narcissist parents that are rich that want their children to go to the finest schools, but they might encourage their children covertly and indirectly to make bad money choices. So they will need to rely on their parents for a lifetime, which allows the parents to constantly feed and get supply. And those bad money choices will allow the narcissistic system in the world and those at the top of the power pyramid to feed as well. However, there are many here, at least online, that have similar stories, where our education was sabotaged by our narcissist parent or parents. And many of us ended up in slow learning classes. Many of us, if we had the chance, we had the smarts to become a doctor if we got the right help, or a business owner. We aren't dumb people. We were just sabotaged at an early age. And by the time we figured out what happened to us, we are well into adulthood trying to keep our head above water. And no one cares anymore because we are adults. And the narcissist parents and those that run society know this fact. Too bad, so sad. That's the world we live in. But just think. Think about all of those that grew up this way. What if they had a real chance? Their parent or parents really cared, and really tried their best to raise these children up to become the best they could be. If that happened, I don't think you will see a lot of the chaos that is happening in the world. For one, those out there causing the chaos, that number would be cut down considerably. And those that are trying to do the right thing but are just struggling to stay above water, they would be making strong good moves in life. And the light of good would start to shine brighter than the light of evil. And the more you would see evil shrink. One example we've talked about is paternity fraud. We've talked about it before. And I think it needs to be talked about again and again until the problem is fixed. The reason why is not just because it's wrong and evil. If that one wrong can be made right, I believe it would be a domino effect where the other wrongs can be made right again. You see, narcissists do not like fixing problems and they do not like admitting wrong. So they will just talk in circles, knowing it will result in nothing being done. This is what we see happening with issues like paternity fraud. But if something serious can be done about it, and it can be fixed to where there is a real resolution, we can have an open talk about what leads people to do such things. And then the topic of narcissism and narcissistic parents will come up. And then we can have a talk with those that grew up in such homes, what it's really like and what the narcissist parent actually does to their children. And then one can better understand why so many are out there in the world doing evil. They were raised by evil. They were literally raised in a home with an evil parent or parents. And that parent or parents wants their children to do evil so they can feed on the misery and pain that their son or daughter's evil acts have caused to others. And they can now feed on the consequence their son or daughter must face for their evil actions, such as prison. They were literally raised to be supply for life. And they don't even know it. And they not only feed their parent supply, they make societal narcissism go round and round. And they make those at the top of the power pyramid more powerful and more rich. And those of us that were raised to be doormats and our educations were sabotaged, though we aren't out there doing bad things, we are still feeding the system just the same. That's why we need to work hard to have better lives, to encourage each other, and to make sure this information gets out there. So if you were raised in such a home, you can take corrective action sooner rather than later. So you won't walk around life in a big fog. And then one day wake up and figure out what has happened way late in the game. A game the narcissist tilts and rigs without you seeing or understanding what's going on. Until many years later. So let's cut that time in half. Let's help give people the shot to make a better life and to let the light of good shine. Well, that's all I have for now. I want to thank you all for watching and listening to my content. It does mean a lot to me. I thank you all for your subscription. However, if you haven't subscribed yet, please take the time to do so, to help this channel grow. And for those that are donating by the way of Patreon, you all are really amazing people. And my cartoon heart is really touched every time I think about how much care and love you have to do what you do to support my work. It really is amazing and it means a lot to me. I just want you to know that. With that said, we must continue to fight to provide this education to others, so they don't have to hit the same life road bumps we had to hit. And hopefully they can have success on their life journey. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.